This is the new 2023 bZ4X, or is it X4? It's, yes, bZ4X, and is Toyota's new electric vehicle. Now, Toyota is well known for their electrified vehicles, their hybrids and their plug-in hybrids. For their EVs, not so much. So, does this new bZ4X impress us or disappoint us? We're gonna find out. Toyota is actually not new to EVs. In fact, it was about 25 years ago that they introduced a battery-powered version of the RAV4, and that was actually the first mainstream electric car that you could buy rather than lease. Anybody remember the EV1 and who killed the electric car? Not Toyota. There was another electric RAV4 in 2012 that was actually developed in conjunction with Tesla, believe it or not, who developed the powertrain for that car. But in the last decade or so, there's been nothing until now. Now, the new bZ4X was developed in conjunction with Subaru, just like some of Toyota's sports cars, and in fact, it is visually, functionally, and mechanically pretty much identical to the Subaru Solterra. Along with the Solterra, this Toyota competes against several talented electric SUVs, including the Mustang Mach-E, the Volkswagen ID.4, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, and of course, Tesla's Model Y. Now, to whom is the Toyota going to appeal? Well, certainly buyers who like Toyota for their reliability and their simplicity. You get into an SUV like the Tesla Model Y, and it kind of overwhelms you with its single-screen futureness. But this is a much more approachable vehicle. From the inside, it really feels like any other gasoline car, and that is good for the comfort level of buyers who are new to electric vehicles. So let's talk about the styling. Up front, we have the grille. What grille? There is no grille except this little one down here. Because it's an electric car, there's no engine to cool, so they close this off for better aerodynamics. Now, Toyota has given it this kind of odd treatment around the hood shut line, which involved gluing a piece of body color plastic to the top of the headlights. I'm not sure what that's about, but then again, I did sleep through a lot of art classes in high school. And they have doubled down on the two-tone trim. You see, you have this black panel on the hood, and of course, these very prominent black fender arches to make it look more aggressive and SUV-ish. And this particular Toyota has the two-tone color scheme, so we have a black roof and of course more black treatment for the fenders. Out back we have this double spoiler. This somehow merges the air on the side of the car with the air coming from the top of the car. Not really sure because I also slept through high school physics. And you have this nice swoopy hatchback for aerodynamics and of course a taillight that extends all the way across the width of the car. Unfortunately, while it doesn't look much like other Toyotas, it does look a lot like the Subaru Solterra. But I have to be honest with you, I have strange taste in cars, but I kind of like it. I'm just so tired of cars that look alike, and the Toyota bZ4X is definitely a very different looking vehicle. The most unusual thing about this Toyota is the driving position, because the instrument panel is positioned way back towards the windshield, and it's meant to be viewed above the steering wheel rim rather than underneath the steering wheel rim. So when you first get in and adjust the wheel, you feel like it's down in your lap. But if you close your eyes and grip the wheel, you will find it's exactly where it ought to be. Also, some unusual detailing in the dashboard. For example, this cloth covering on the dash. Not sure how well that would hold up to my little dog's paws, but she should probably be in the back seat anyway. Other than that, it's actually fairly conventional. You have touchscreen stereo and navigation controls. The air conditioning controls are capacitive touch, but they're laid out like you would find in any other car. In fact, aside from this button, which controls the regenerative braking, which slows the car when you lift off the accelerator, there's really no buttons or switches that you wouldn't find in an ordinary vehicle. And that's one of the things we really like about the Toyota, is that it's approachable. To somebody who's never driven an electric car, this is going to feel perfectly natural. A couple of nifty electric-only climate features. One is this little button here, which cuts off climate control to the back seats, only delivers air to the front seats to save power. And the other is these little buttons here. These control radiant heaters located under the dash, which is a more energy-efficient way to heat the cabin. In terms of practicality, are you giving up anything for an electric vehicle? No, you are not. Plenty of storage space. You have this nice big cubby underneath the floating center stack. You have a recharging phone pad under this clear cover. Very comfortable for the front seat passengers. backseat passengers have a flat floor, so that makes the backseat feel very roomy. And as for cargo room, you are not giving up anything in terms of practicality as compared to a hybrid or a conventional gasoline-powered SUV. Toyota is making single and dual motor versions of the bZ4X. Now, the single motor cars have a 201 horsepower electric motor driving the front wheels, whereas this particular car, the all-wheel drive one, has motors on both axles for a total of 214 horsepower. And we timed this little gem to 60 in 5.8 seconds. Now, that's fairly quick by gasoline standards. By electric car standards, it's kind of meh. But of course, it has that smooth, silent flow of power and lots of torque that is the hallmark of electric vehicles. Now, the problem that Toyota has is range. Front-wheel drive cars max out at 252 miles, whereas this all-wheel drive version with the larger wheels and tires only has 222 miles of range. Now, that's not a big problem if you charge from home and only go to work and back, or pick the kids up from school, or whatever. But if you're planning to do long distance travel, that could be a problem, and it's exacerbated by the slow charging. Now, there are fast chargers out there that will deliver up to 350 kilowatts of power, but the front-wheel drive version can only charge at 150 kilowatts. The all-wheel drive version can only charge at 100 kilowatts. That means getting from a low state of charge to 80% is going to take the better part of an hour, and you don't pick up that many miles. Now, the new Toyota electric SUV has not yet been crash tested, but like most Toyota models, it comes with a long list of standard safety equipment. It has the Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 system, and that includes collision detection with automatic braking, adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, lane keeping assistance, and a long list of other driver assistance features. And we are very pleased that Toyota is making all this equipment standard, no extra cost, and that's the way it ought to be. Pricing for the Toyota bZ4X top-of-the-line all-wheel drive limited trim starts just under 50 grand. In fact, this one is just over $52,000. Now, that may sound like a lot of money for a smallish SUV, but it's actually competitive with other electric SUVs in their higher trim levels, including the Ford Mustang Mach-E, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, and the Volkswagen ID4. And this car is actually about 12 grand cheaper than a high-end Tesla Model Y. But when you are talking about electric vehicle pricing, you have to talk about tax credits, because most buyers of most electric vehicles will qualify for example, a $7,500 federal tax credit. And the states usually kick in a couple grand as well. However, there is a cap on the number of cars that can be sold with that credit, and Toyota has sold so many plug-in vehicles that they're about to run out. In fact, they may have run out by the time you see this video. So you need to check into that. You might be better off buying the Subaru Solterra, which is pretty much the same car at pretty much the same price, but because Subaru has not sold a massive number of plug-in cars, it'll qualify for the tax credit for a great deal longer. There's a lot we like about this electric SUV. We like its simplicity, its approachability, and of course its smooth, quiet demeanor and the way it goes down the road. But we are disappointed by its range, which is not that great, and its slow performance when connected to a fast charger. So to decide if this is the EV for you, you have to ask yourself, what will life with this car look like? If you're the type of person who stays fairly close to home, then the Toyota is going to be just fine. But if you like to spread your wings and see this great land of ours, then you're going to want an electric vehicle that has a longer range and better fast charging performance. To see vehicle rankings and our complete buyer's guide, go to motortrend.com/cars.